I'm Tony Taylor with Interconnect Mortgage. I hope you're having an amazing day. I just wanted to reach out to you and have a quick conversation about foreclosure headlines and the conversation about, are we headed for a bubble, and really, what is the situation in that regard? So, one thing that's really awesome about a topic like this is that numbers don't lie. So you can talk to a lot of people and you'll get a lot of different opinions, but the truth of the matter is that what are the stats actually supporting? So when you look at the numbers and you'll hear, you'll hear a variety of different people and perspectives as to why people think there is a bubble happening or there isn't a bubble happening. So I'm going to share some facts with you, and hopefully that's going to help you ease your mind that there is no indication right now that we are in any kind of a risk of this occurring. So when you look at the numbers and you see these headlines all the time where people say, oh my gosh, the numbers have doubled. And, one of the headlines that I read recently was that foreclosure filings are up 115%, which makes it sound like, oh my gosh, there's this huge loom of people that are in default on their house. And that means that we're headed into a financial crisis similar to what we experienced in the 2008, 2010 range. But here's the reality. Here's what the stats are. They are up, but they're actually down 34% from 2019. So, the headline loves this. We've got this 115% increase, but when you had such a low number, then, any increase is going to make it look like it's a very sharp number. And just to give you, again, some numbers to actually put behind this to help make sense out of everything. And there's some things that have played out through the pandemic and the way that the government handled some things that are affecting why the numbers are what they are. And again, to give you some peace of mind. So, one of the things that the government did when the pandemic hit is they came out and they gave people these options to go into forbearance and prevent their home from being foreclosed on. And so, now as a result of that, because of those moratoriums and those government policies, the foreclosure numbers went down to these record low levels in 20 and 21. So when you have something like that, and now there's no foreclosures being filed, and then those moratoriums start to lift and you start to restore a normal market, then, okay, if there was only one foreclosure on the book and now there's two, it's 100% increase. Right. So what we saw, and this is exactly how this is playing out, is now that the moratoriums have come to an end, that there was 8.4 million borrowers who entered the program. There is still less than 5% of those 8.4 million that are in a forbearance program remaining. So the foreclosure activity is still incredibly low compared to before the COVID pandemic. So the efforts that the government put into place to keep the economy going and to help people avoid foreclosure, it worked. Then you have this other issue. So there are people, obviously, that are still struggling and still trying to get up on their feet. But one of the things that has happened is the home values have gone up. So they could have been in trouble if the home values had seen any kind of a dip, or the home values had even, certainly if they'd gone backwards. But because they had so much equity in their home, even if they weren't able to right their ship in terms of staying in the property, they had a lot of equity. So they put their home for sale and they're taking that equity down the road with them. So just to give you an idea, if you can kind of visualize, in 2005, now mind you, that was before the crisis occurred, right? That 2005 was 3 years before, and really 2009 and 2010 is when the market, the financial crisis peaked. In 2005, we were at about 533,000 foreclosures, okay, in the country. Then in 2009 and 2010, it peaked, went up to 2.8 million and 2.9 million. Now in 2022, so we're in the beginning of January of 23, but too soon to, obviously have any 2023 numbers. In 2022, we're looking at 324,000. So lower than we were before 2005. Okay. So while foreclosure numbers are still, rising, again, it's all relative to where they were. So there is no indication right now that there could be any kind of a housing bust. When things happened before, there was a cascade of events that occurred and values went upside down. And now all of a sudden you've got people that, they can't even sell because their home was worth less than they owed on it. So you did have the short sale situation, but you had a lot of foreclosures obviously that's what played out. So right now, the bottom line is this. The housing experience is expecting an increase in the foreclosures, but absolutely nowhere near the levels that it experienced during the housing bubble burst. So that being said, if you have been thinking about getting into the home market, you want to purchase real estate, now is the time. So the good news is that we're in a more balanced market, meaning that it's not a seller's market completely. It's not a buyer's market completely. And I know this can change geographically. If you move around the country, there's going to be different markets that are going to be slightly different than what I'm talking about, but as a generalized scope. Okay. So what is happening, what we're seeing is that home buyers are getting to go out and negotiate without the pressure of being amid 15 other offers, and actually have a seller who is being fair and reasonable about being negotiable. So if you've been thinking about getting in the market and you're thinking, well, I'm going to wait for this big bubble to burst, these numbers don't lie. These are factual statistics. You certainly, can go find the same information, right? And you can see that the numbers just don't support that that's where we're headed. If you've been wanting to buy, it's always a great time to get in the market. The rates are higher than they were a year ago, but there's always the possibility that we'll see an adjustment down. If you buy now while the market is more balanced and you can go negotiate a fair price on your home, then if we do see a drop, then we can always come in and help you refinance. So obviously, a lot of complexities here, always here to help. If you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to reach out. We're at the team, always a free consultation. The number here is 561-373-0371. We appreciate you listening, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks.